It is now time for public comment. The board asks that anyone who has previously addressed the board restrain from making comment to us at this time. We thank you for your previous comments and expressing those to the board. We ask that anyone who addresses us today refrain from reading material to us, but we will be glad to enter that material into the record. We limit time for each comment to 2 minutes. With that, with those guidelines, we welcome anyone who wishes to make comments to the board to come forward. Thank you.
Candice Keller, 3430 Central Avenue, Middletown. When the higher-ranking civil authority makes unjust or immoral law, mandates, policy, or court opinion, the lower or lesser-ranking civil authority has both the God-given right and the duty not to obey the superior authority, and if necessary, to actively resist them. I received this email from a Butler County orthodontist office. My spouse and I worked very hard to get through dental school. We leased equipment, paid insurance and liability, trained our staff, set up our thriving practice, only to see 2020 become a year when no public official would help us or stand up for us. We always worried about competitors and the economy like everyone else, but we never dreamed that the government would steal the dreams that we made of someday settling our practice to be able to retire. We have worked our whole lives to be undermined by even public officials who are local, who would not help us, and I see that they refuse now to intervene. We kept our staff as long as we could, and many were single mothers who were hygienists with small children. We paid them as long as we could until we could no longer afford to do so, all because of a virus that spares 99% of the people who get it. And no one could see the truth as we struggled to keep our business. Now we face an uncertain future, and it is all because no one seems to would be willing to do the right thing. I thought we had elected people to look out for us, and instead they are ignoring us. I do not understand why our commissioners will not agree to open Butler County by doing a resolution and making a public announcement that Butler County will no longer follow illegal mandates made by this governor. It is most likely too late for us to recover from this devastating 16 months financially. I'm only writing this letter because I see that Rep. Keller will take it to the commissioners and no one else is willing to do so. Last week you stated that your office did not issue the recently exposed email that I read to you regarding unconstitutional mandating of face masks and private vaccination information from county employees. Your staff person, Julie Gilbert, sent the email, and she answers directly to you. So your comment that the email did not come from your office is evasive at best. Not a single piece of correspondence that leaves my office goes unless I peruse it and approve it myself. I would expect that the county hierarchy works in a similar fashion. Secondly, Commissioner Carpenter, when referring to the doctrine of the lesser magistrates, you indicated that the philosophy of the author, whom you repeatedly called Reverend in an effort to discredit his authority, focused on federal government rather than local. This is 100% false and certainly indicates that you did not bother to study further to comprehend what every oath keeper should understand, and that is that government works from the bottom up. It is the resounding theme of that entire narrative. You have indicated that you wish to have the health department address our issues regarding COVID, which we presented to you nearly 2 months ago. We have no interest in hearing from the health department, which derives 100% of their authority from commissioners and county code, since they are hired or appointed and you are elected. If we wanted to speak to the health department, we would approach them directly. We do know where they are located. We will not accept the typical punting off of this task to another entity unrelated to our requests, as the health department has zero authority to stop the following of pretended law issued by the governor. And you indeed do own the authority by virtue of your election. No public health emergency was ever declared by the Ohio legislature with a 2/3 majority in both houses. Therefore, no public health orders issued by the state or at the county level have any authority, since that power was never granted through legislative process or transfer. Continuing to deny that you do not have this authority is untrue. You say that you have rules in place in this chamber, and yet you break them weekly. You answer questions from some people and others you do not. You engage in the hallway to answer questions that you will not answer in front of the camera. 1 week ago today, Commissioner Carpenter, you told an Afghanistan Marine veteran's wife that she had no courage because she was bringing an issue to you rather than the legislature. A stunning statement that you said repeatedly. Your unnecessary rudeness falls into a category that is beneath the dignity of the office that you hold. Every Ohio citizen has a right to be heard. Everyone knows that a vaccine passport is coming our direction due to an inactive Ohio legislature and its fear of medical freedom being ensured through House Bill 248, which would set us free but is headed nowhere. We now need local public officials to be proactive and work ahead of the injustices heading our way, and we are demanding it. If you cannot bring yourself to stop the illegal mandating of face masks and stopping the questioning of private medical records regarding vaccinations, why would you bother to intervene in further law-breaking efforts? We have told you what is needed. In fact, we wrote it for you. It is one thing to ignore us. It is another thing to lash out at us for demanding medical freedom. It is ridiculous that we have to come weekly to remind you that we hired you. We demand that you do your job, and yet you continue to sit and deny that you have this authority. 100% of county commissioners have the power to enact a resolution stating that they agree to ignore illegal mandates. This is pursuant to Ohio law, ORC 4731.34 and 4731.41. It should state, be it hereby enacted that all acts, laws, orders, rules, mandates, lockdowns, and regulations passed by the federal or state government, past, present, or future, which violate an individual's lawful First Amendment right to assemble or Fourth and Fifth Amendment right to privacy, including but not limited to personal medical decisions, shall be invalid in Butler County, shall not be recognized in Butler County, and specifically rejected by Butler County, and shall be considered null and void and of no effect in Butler County. Should also be accompanied by a letter that all Butler County businesses can post on the front door of their businesses that state, Butler County is open, mask mandates and all other pretended laws or orders are considered invalid within Butler County and are not punishable by law. No legal action will be taken if you choose to enter and patronize this facility without a face mask. No one will question you about your vaccination status or any other personal health matter, since that is a violation of right to privacy and is information protected by both the Ohio and U.S. Constitution. Butler County Commissioners respect your First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment right to assemble and maintain personal privacy. If you do not wish to do this, simply say, no, we won't. That is all you have to say. That will let us know that you do not wish to uphold your oath, that you wish to ignore our Constitution, and that you have handed off your power by either pretending to be ignorant or by being ignorant. Will you issue a resolution, or do you refuse to do this?
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate that. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to make a comment to the board? We ask that if you have made the comment previously, that you refrained from making it again. The Board of Commissioners has heard these comments, and we do appreciate them. We do have our prosecutor here. Prosecutor Gmoser, would you like to make comments? Sir, welcome. I believe what we're being asked to do is to get a message out about masks, and also I believe that there's some kind of problem with the vaccine and we should stand up for that. I think those are the two issues I'm hearing. You've probably heard other things, so thank you, sir.
Let me begin by saying that I regret that Ms. Keller decided to leave at this time. Because if she were here, she would hear from me my observations about the conduct of democracy at work in this chamber today. Now, I heard that at your last meeting it was very rancorous. There were a number of people that chose rudeness and a lack of decorum for a business meeting instead of a conversation and an expression of opinion. What I have seen today is exactly that, and I'm delighted by that. My observation is that if the general public wants sausage from this commission, if they want sausage, they really need to go to Washington, D.C., because what you are seeing here is democracy at work. Now, Commissioner Carpenter, President Carpenter, I understand that you did lay down some rules. You wanted it limited to 2 minutes. I started my stopwatch when Candice Ms. Keller began her observations. At 2 minutes, I expected that there would be some clock keeper. There wasn't. It continued and continued and continued, which certainly set the precedent for anybody else to have that opportunity and that extension of time. But you did not interrupt her, which would have been certainly taken as the denial of free speech. But everybody needs to know and understand that freedom of speech does not mean a meeting turns into a free-for-all. Freedom of speech does require that the general public have the opportunity to express themselves, no matter how hateful sometimes the speech may be. Because obviously the speech that is given today is heartfelt. I believe that. I believe that they have anecdotal evidence to support their positions. I believe that they have had a loved one who has been lost or more, and they attribute that to some conduct of governance, and you are being held responsible for that. Responsibility, in the opinion of this prosecutor, does not, however, lie with this commission. You, however, are available. Everybody knows where you are. Everybody knows that the TV camera is here. Everybody knows that the reporter from somewhere is here with his camera. Nobody restricted his ability to be here. I was asked that question early on. Do we have to allow cameras here? Absolutely you do. But if it was out of line, if he was standing in front of you, interfering with a speaker, or his camera was going off like a machine gun that you could hear, I would have raised my hand for a moment of decorum and asked him to either stop taking his pictures with a camera like that or get a new one. They do that, by the way, in courtrooms. Courtrooms in Butler County are open to the media. They're open to the cameras. They know their place. That is positionally. They don't interfere with the process. Welcome back, Ms. Keller. Sorry you missed it. Have a seat. I don't want to interrupt that. Prefer to stand? That's fine. The bottom line is, this is democracy at work. And I'm proud of the way the commissioners here have handled it. But one thing that the audience needs to understand, and I've gone through this myself with my own research, I have gone through this with the chief of my civil division, who is wildly experienced in the law, knows what the law is, and knows what your responsibilities are, and knows what your responsibilities are not. And our opinions happen to be in harmony. And that is, you are not the board of Butler County Health. You do not make rules and regulations and guidance that has to be followed and can be required to be followed by force of law and force of arrest. I've seen it before. And I've had to opine and give guidance to the judges of this county with respect to the supremacy of county orders with respect to certain issues of public health that must be followed. It is not discretionary with you. You don't get to say, well, I think we're just going to pass a rule or a resolution or whatever name you want to put on it and say, we disagree with that and we're not going to follow it. You don't get to do that. And if you do, you're going to be in trouble with somebody, and it may be a judge. And I'm not going to be able to support you when you do something stupid. Now, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. We get that. And you're here to give it. And you have done it. You've done it with decorum, politeness, and with respect to your belief structure, the sensibility of that. But it's often been said, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own law. You are not entitled to a law that doesn't apply. You are not required to follow public opinion because that's ruled by mob and not by the laws written in Ohio that you are required to follow and I am required to present and support you with, which I have done with every fiber of my body for the past decade in this job. And I did it for 8 years prior to that when I was an assistant prosecutor, and I love the work. And I love democracy, and I like to be here today, and I love to see it at work. And I think one thing you've learned about Mike Gmoser, who spells his name with a G, the silent G is the only thing silent about me. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to address you today with respect to the democracy I'm seeing at work here today. Thank you.